Hey everyone, I figured I'd do something a little different today, considering that I was unable to push out 1085 today due to some performance issues and some other ideas I had for a new user control that will allow some pretty cool features to be included in your theme. So anyway, like I said, we're going to do something different, and I don't mean hiding or at least not putting my video camera on this time, and I'll explain why in a second. This is something I've been meaning to do for quite some time, and I hadn't thought of how I was going to do it until recently. I built a very simple trace window within the theme creator, just so that you can see what the theme creator is actually doing behind the scenes while you're in the editor. And it just gives you a basic understanding of some of the complexity that it's actually jumping through in order to do what it does. So with that said, let me punch up the theme creator, and I'll go into this view, and as I said, I have this trace window activated for this particular version of the theme creator, or at least a special way of launching it. So as a wheel is included for this particular view, this element is highlighted, the element is highlighted, and therefore the XAML code is being highlighted for this element. Okay, so this is all the code specific to this element, and this element being the wheel. Okay, and I can scroll up to the top, and that's all well and good. It looks very rough because it's in design mode. It's not supposed to look pretty. There's no reason for it to maintain a pretty, nicely nested sections of code when this is all internally being modified and added to and deleted and all this kind of good stuff. So it's only when you actually hit save in the editor itself it kind of pretties or beautifies the source code, if you're interested in viewing what the theme creator has actually created. All right, more importantly, when you publish, it goes through the same process. It beautifies the source code so it's all nicely indented. So what we'll do here is ignore the wheel code for now, and I'll go ahead and add something fairly basic, fairly straightforward, and that's a text field. All right, I'll keep the trace window here, and hence that's why I've dropped my video camera from the view, because as you can see, the trace window is taking up a considerable amount of space here. So I added the new UI element, text1. Here it is here in the code. All right. There is nothing for it to display. I haven't added anything. As you can see, text is blank. So it's currently set to constant value, so I'll key in a value. I can position my mouse. And as you can see, it's updated the XAML code and included the constant value of hello there. Now obviously if I want to choose different font styles, font weight, I can do that here. Normal, bold, italic, normal. So what this is actually doing is as you're editing or as you're adding, changing, deleting UI elements on screen and changing its associated properties, it's actually creating code, modifying code, deleting code behind the scenes. And this window here is actually giving you a real-time view of the source code that's being maintained while you're in the editor. And I thought this might be quite interesting to you and give you a little peek behind the curtain to see what the theme creator is really kind of doing. So I'll take it a little bit further. So I'll add an effect. Let's say I want to include a drop shadow, and it's included the drop shadow block here. Okay, I'm going to pick a style, an assist to help me out here, and it's applied the assist values. And if I change the direction, which is currently set to 270, which is downward, I want to change it to this, for example. There you go. It's made the update. Likewise with depth. Now the reason why you're not seeing depth 52 specified over here is because this is being calculated based on your current resolution. So as I'm using my desktop and my desktop resolution is at 4K, I could essentially hand off this theme to somebody that's going to run this theme at 720 or 1080 or even higher. It could be an ultra wide for all I know. Okay, so what it tries to do with most of the UI elements, or all UI elements, it tries to scale those UI elements based on how I saved it and how they're going to be reproduced on another user's machine. So, and hence it's using a binding value here, which is in essence taking a calculated value of shadow depth. Obviously, for my machine, it's running in 4K. It was designed in 4K. It will use a depth of 52. However, going higher up or going to a lower resolution, that calculated depth will go up and down depending on the target res. Okay, so that's the difference here. It keeps everything all kind of proportional. Let me see, color. Going to add an orange to the effect, and there it is here. And let's say I wanted to add a, actually let me just change the font size. It's pretty small. Okay. And let me center it. All this is happening, like I said, real time. Okay, text alignment is center. All right. So we're going to add a storyboard, or as I call it here, an animation. So what I want to do is run the animation immediately, basically when the view is loaded. And what I want to do is, well, you know, I'll just rotate it. And we can do it slowly, somewhat slowly. And I'll repeat. Okay. So we'll let that just do its thing. There you go. And here's the code that it just appended to the UI element. And again, it's not pretty, it's not indented, but it gives you an idea of what it's doing here. It does get indented on the when you hit save or when you publish. So as you can see, it's the storyboard is going to kick off when the UI element is loaded, and that's loaded when the view is loaded. The storyboard name, and it's not set to auto reverse, so it will just continuously play going forward. Sets up the double animation for this storyboard. As you can see, it's set to utilizing the angle property here. Start at 0, so there was no begin delay. Goes straight into it. Takes 10 seconds to do the rotation of 0 to 360 degrees, and it just continuously repeats. So that's the animation code that it just appended to this UI element. And again, I can go in and keep chaining more and more. So let's say maybe I want to let's do the color. Set to white, so why don't I make it kind of still in the, well, it's kind of pinkish. And I'm going to make that every 5 seconds. I want to repeat, and I want to auto reverse. So there you go. It's going from white to red and then back to white. Okay. And again, as you can see, it's created a second storyboard, SB2, for this UI element. And the storyboard itself is not auto-reverse, but the particular animation in question that it's performing, the color color animation, is auto-reverse. Okay. 5 seconds to this color. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, let's see. Let's move this kind of over here. Actually, what I should do is, I've got it set to a constant value. Let's pick a metadata. So again, it's amended the code, but this time the text value should be, well, obviously it's set to nothing. It's expecting a metadata field to supply the value now. Okay, so I'll go in and I'll say, you know what, I want to display the manufacturer. Okay, so there's Panasonic. Okay, so let's see the code that it included to do this. And I'm trying to remember how it is this here. Okay, so it included this text block. Okay. And where's the text block's text? Here it is. This is the start, and there's the end. So it utilizes a converter. I'm going after the active platform manufacturer, and I'm trying to remember what these are. If I'm supplying if I'm supplying specifics here, so like for text format, for example, maybe I want it all in lowercase. text block. Sorry. Here you go. I keep losing my position here because of the way it's highlighting the text. Here it is here, so it's saying all lowercase. Alright. And the same is true for all uppercase. Let's put the formatting in here. I'm going to say no conversion. There you go. So that's how all of this works, by embedding specific code that's allowed to be used with particular UI elements. It will insert, remove, add, change, you know, append, whatever it needs to do, wherever it makes sense. Let's see. We'll add another UI element. Make it visible. Image. I'm going to... Oh, I don't have any content of my own. Let's see. I'll steal something. See, I'm running out of room on screen. I'm just going to grab something. Let's see. Yeah, why not? All right, let's bring this back. Media folder. There you go. Images. And I want... let me see. None of this stuff should be displayed. Well, actually, that's not true. Media image. It's images. File name is Mario. There you go. I was just showing off, or inadvertently selected the new feature I'm currently working on. That's what kind of confused me a little bit there. I want to add an effect, and so let's see, we have image 1. And it's grabbing the file name from this converter here. Up here, file fallback with search. This is the path, and that's the file that I had selected. Things like this here allow me to add visibility conditioning. So this will pass back a, does the file exist? True, false, or yes, no. You never see this obviously working. This is all working behind the scenes. So whenever you do visibility conditioning and say, hey, you know, if the file was found for this, then do something. Well, this is what it's actually reading right here. this image1 img found flag value. Yeah. And a lot of this code here is not going to be created for the final theme. This is purely for the editor. So for example, if this image was not found, it would be showing the default image not available image in its place. And that's certainly not something that you would want to see in the published theme unless you want to handle that yourself. But by default, this code would be very different to what is published in the final product. Yeah, I mean that's basically what's going on. Like I said, it's a real-time code generator. It uses a set of building blocks for each of the different UI elements that I have, and you know, these are the ones that I'm allowed to add for this particular view. And that was another reason why I went through an exercise months and months ago now, let's say at the beginning of the year, to reduce the number of UI elements I had in the list, because one, it was just an ungodly list, and two, the majority of those UI elements were similar. I mean, 95% code base was similar, so it was time I needed to reduce that. And it was good that I did that, because the number of building blocks that I have behind each one of these is far less. So whenever I come up with a new idea, a new feature, I don't have to update multiple UI elements now. It's usually one. You know, if I'm targeting a particular UI element to add new features. So yeah, it allows me to make the changes very, very quickly now, targeted, and obviously, you know, allow these features to go out in the forum more quickly. So yeah, that's essentially what it's doing. Every time that you add a UI element, it's adding code, and every time that you change the properties, it's changing the code. That's what it's doing. And as you can see, you know, we just threw in animated GIF, all this lines of code, the basic shell, and you basically tweak it up in here. That's how it works. That's the magic behind the theme creator. So that's about it, really. I'm not showing off how to build views or themes in this video. It was really just to give you a peek-see behind the curtain. Really kind of demonstrate what this theme creator is really doing. So hopefully this has been somewhat educational, or at least kind of eye-opening as to what I've had to do here. And as you can see, being a real-time code generator, it has to be super efficient in order to generate the code extremely quickly, in order for it to turn around and then make this code, this generated code, then visible on screen to reflect the changes that you've just made. So yeah, it's quite a challenge. But anyway, yeah, like I said, didn't have anything else to really kind of show off today, and this is something that I've been meaning to do for quite some time now. So you know, I hope you've enjoyed it. So I'll see you guys in a week, and fingers crossed I'll have 1085 ready for the forum next weekend. All right, thanks for watching.